Welcome back, guys. Today on Business Pro Tip, we're going to talk about being a helicopter parent, the costs of it, how it affects your child as an entrepreneur, and what you can do to change your child's life by not being a helicopter parent. We all understand we enjoy, we have fun with our kids. We want to make sure that they succeed, but at what cost? Let's not be helicopter parents. Let's have that conversation. Be back in a moment.
A helicopter parent is a term used to describe a style of parenting that involves excessive hovering and overprotective behavior. These parents tend to be overly involved in every aspect of their child's life, closely monitoring and controlling their activities to an extreme degree. Helicopter parents often have good intentions, such as ensuring their child's safety and success, but their constant intervention can hinder the child's ability to develop independence and problem-solving skills. This parenting style may manifest in actions like micromanaging homework, scheduling every minute of a child's day, and shielding them from any potential challenges or disappointments. The term helicopter parent is derived from the idea that these parents metaphorically hover over their children, much like a helicopter hovers in one place. While the intention is to provide support and protection, it can have unintended consequences, leading to children who may struggle with decision-making, lack resilience, and have difficulty facing the challenges of adulthood. Striking a balance between support and allowing children the space to learn from their experiences is crucial for fostering healthy development and self-sufficiency.
Now I get it. Being a helicopter parent is probably the easiest thing to do, especially if you're a control freak. Maybe you have a parent that just says, hey, oh, my child, I got to do everything for him. Right now, we have a lot of young adults, millenniums, ones that are that generation, kids that's being raised right now. They don't really have that work ethic. A lot of them still are asking their parents to lend them their attributes. Work very hard, mom and dad, meet all my needs. You got grown kids in college right now who don't go get a job. And they have this extra free time and they can go shopping on daddy and mommy's money. That's a helicopter kid. When they work and they're utilizing their parents' cars, they don't have to put the gas in, that's a helicopter parent. These are early signs that you're a helicopter parent and you're actually not allowing your child to realize what real life is. Well, that's a problem because you're raising a misfit. If you're a guy and you get a helicopter, oh my goodness, if you get a helicopter wife, oh, you're not like my father. You ever heard that statement before? These are signs that your significant other, male or female, was raised just by a helicopter parent. It means that when it comes to the reality of the circumstances, they refuse to accept it because their skills were never the skills they had to do it. As they say, only a person who actually works in the field of rice or wheat knows the cost of rice or wheat. Everyone else, they take it for granted. Maybe you have one of those kids. They're always pressing, always asking. You don't know how to tell them no. They don't know the price of grain. They don't know the price of rice. And because they don't know that, you are developing in them an ideology that they can actually live off other people's attributes. And other people will gladly go and put the time in, develop the skills, have a realistic lifestyle. As soon as they can't have their way, these kids are ruthless. And now, they might have been kids now. You may have an adult ruthless. Regardless if they're, after the baby boomers, which was the greatest generation of births, then you got the next generation. That comes me. Now, I could tell you that there are certain things that, yes, my parents did for me. But overall, I had to figure a lot of things out. That's the reason I'm very adaptable. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have a delay as far as how to handle things. Sometimes I could be withdrawn, trying to come to grips with the situation I got to deal with. Other times, I'm on it. You can't stop me from actually solving the problem because I already have the skills to do so. But when you're raising a helicopter child, these are some things you want to understand. You cannot shelter them. They have to work through intellectually the process. Just being intellectual. Look at it sometimes now. You got so many idioms that come out of kids' mouth when they're talking. You have to ask yourself, what part of the English language did you miss 1st through 8th grade? This even comes to adults. Now, I get it. The public school system, especially if your child attends there, may not be the best place because they can just pass your child along. And, you can see the progress reports. The grades ain't that well. But what do you consider? Well, they just got bottled up energy. Nah, your child is stupid. They're not foolish. Lazy and irresponsible is one thing. They're just stupid. They lack the skills covered because you never allow them to gain the skills. It's a lack of intelligence. Do they have the drive to learn? Nah, you kept them from it. They stupid. Now, I know that may seem harsh or mean, But this is what we're raising now, a generation of stupid people. It used to be we raised intelligent people who were just being lazy and irresponsible, which we can call foolish. Now we're just raising stupidity. You can see it. You don't have to go far. I mean, somebody is now, you can tell, a lot of these helicopter kids, they all got cell phones. They don't know what their bill is like. Now, if you got your child a cell phone, they don't understand the price of that cell phone. Every month, you say, well, it's okay, I only pay an extra $34. Okay, you pay extra $34 each month. You pay an extra $10 each month. Let me even go to the lowest, $5 a month to get an extra iPhone or extra Android phone on your plan. That's right, just cost you $5 more. That's not $5. Let's take the math. If you take 5 and you do that times 12, I can assure you it's not $5. So what we're doing, we're raising kids that don't understand that there's a price for the activities that they want to do. There's a price to play sports. There's a price to go to practice. There's a price to go to school. Especially for those parents right now that are raising their children and don't have a school bus that actually picks their child up and they have to drop them off every single day. Let me be the first to admit, I don't think my children ever had to since the time they attended the school because of the proximity. The school is not close to us, but it's close enough that they don't have a school bus that picks them up. So from K through 12, I'm going to have to do something unless I get them a car. Well, they don't know the price because in their minds, along as mom and dad, and I had to learn that lesson. Because raising a child who doesn't understand the cost socially, economically, mentally is a problem for society. Are you one of those parents that continue to raise a child that is mentally, socially, economically deprived from the reality of what goes on? I mean, here we are. We're getting ready to close to any type of festivities or holidays. And in the back of a parent's mind, are you going to put it on credit? Then there's a cost. No toy costs the price if you charge it. Let's just accept it. Most of the time when it comes close to the holidays, any type of item that we're getting, our kids are just demanding, I want. What they're really saying is, please, mom and dad, this is what I want for Christmas. I want access to your attributes, your workability, your skills, but your skills when it comes to actually going to work and being productive. In the process of being productive, I want you to give me that money so I can get something that at the end of 10 days, I'm bored with it. You ever done that before? Hey, I was one of those kids. I got an item. I played it after 30 days. I was no longer interested. That cool new item, after 4 months, I was no longer interested. I totally forgot what it took and how many hours and what type of buffoonery my parents had to go through in order to get that item. Let's be real. It is some buffoonery at some of these workplaces. But you still want to get that item for your child. Well, let's look at some things you don't need to do. Let's talk about some things you do need to do. Number one, I think it's important that anytime you're raising a child that they understand that there's a cost associated with what they want. And they also need to see the association of how many hours that you must contribute to getting that. You know, now when a dad comes home, is he the first one that the wife puts the food on the table? Or is everybody going for the refrigerator with his TV dinners? Or is everyone eating out? These are all additional costs. So the kids need to understand that there's a cost associated with just living. There's a cost associated with the water. There's a cost associated with the power. You know, if you ask the average child right now, do you know how much it costs for our power bill? You know how many parents are not even communicating that? They say, turn off the lights! But they're not going to say, this bill cost me $112. You know, if we could save $1, it would be nice. Could you please cut off the light in the room when you're not in the room? Because the kid can't associate that cost. Oh, you know, it's unlimited power coming through that wall. No, it's not. It is unlimited power, but at a cost. It is unlimited water at a cost. Because if you can't bear that cost, there's going to be limitations because no water is going to be on. If you can't bear that cost, there's not going to be no power because you didn't pay the power bill. So there is a cost associated with that. Just like there's no such thing as unlimited gas. You have to fill back up, but they're at a cost. So each activity our child does, when we think recreational sports, it still bears a cost. You got to go out and get the cleats, uniform, pay for them to play. Even if it's the YMCA, it's a cost. And when you have to drag a child, force a child to get a child because you want to keep them preoccupied because you may feel they have some other issue like ADD, they don't associate that with a cost. Oh, well, you know, I play this sports with a cost. Traveling sports has a cost. You're raising a helicopter child that's going to depend upon you, that's going to have economic, sociological, and when it comes to dealing with business, they're going to struggle. All of this because you're not seeing that, yes, I'm doing this for my child so they're going to have a better life at the cost of them actually not living one. That's the irony of it. As a helicopter parent, this started all the way back in the 1990s, to be quite honest with you. And from the research that's out there now, a year after helicopter parenting became the thing, making sure that your child has everything they need to be successful, not allowing them to wrestle with anything, not allowing them to face the answer of this one beautiful word, no. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get this. Now parents say, well, if you do well in school, then I'll give you a gift. I thought being well in school was a personal desire for the child to be academic. I mean, let me just be honest with you. Chores was something I didn't get paid for. And doing homework, that was not either. It was because it was my personal responsibility. That was my first job, being a student. And being a student, my paycheck was good grades. That's the way I was taught. I never expected my parents that when I brought home an A or B or C, but definitely not a D or an F, that was never acceptable in my house, that I would be rewarded with any form of money or gift. I know today that that is one of the things that people do. And some kids that go ballistic because if they get a B, they had to have an A. But let me ask you a question. How are they mentally? We have so many kids today on Adderall, which after they became helicopter parenting, became the mechanism of raising your children. Let me just be clear. Helicopter parenting brought apart the largest group of individuals after the baby boomers of taking Adderall. You got so many people who got ADHD now. I always ask people, before, ADHD was something that came to happen after 1990. I mean, prior to that, we talked about kids being hyper. We used to talk about that child in school that was a bully, needed to sit his butt down. Somebody needed to beat his behind and he'll stop being so hyper, he'll have self-control. But think about World War I and before that. I mean, these are terms that people tend to now call hyperactivity. We like to also say, is it a real thing for a child to be over anxious and anxiety? Yes. What is it? A lack of self-control. I mean, unless you tell a child that there is a standard that they're running up against, the child would think, oh, it's just normal, drug me up. That's the society we live in. Give me the pill. I want to be honest. If a pill can make somebody rational, then every female in America needs to give it to the man. See, dog and say woman, didn't you? Not going to do that today. Give it to a man. Then he'll be rational. Then he can be emotional. Then he can understand you. I don't want the pill, though, because I don't want to understand you that way. I want to deal with you, but I don't want to understand you. I want to be able to look and say, that's what makes us different. Happy this for that, because I definitely don't want to think like that. That's the reason for me I don't want the pill. You may have a different reason, but I have no desire to be that emotional. With that being said, as a helicopter parent, you need to understand that you need to let your kids wrestle with things. Do you solve all their fussing, their fighting, their work habits, their bad things, and you just constantly cuddling them? A kangaroo parent, I like to call it. Is that you? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're raising? I just want you to know, the society doesn't need more kids this way. This is the reason that so many people feel entitled. I don't feel entitled to anything. Everything I do is a privilege, and I know it can be removed from me. Does your children recognize that? It's a privilege, which means that I'm only granted this as long as I meet the standard for doing it. A lot of times you have parents that let their kids play. These kids are never going to be paid for being an athlete. They don't have it, let's just be honest. But you are paying this exorbitant amount of money only to later for your child to tell you, I don't want to do it. But they told you that 10 years ago. And you just kept them. Yes, they got a little bit better gifted, but the reality is they're not going to get the gift to be in the union or any union, because all activities that are adult that gets paid are part of a union. I don't care if it's the Olympics, I don't care if it's a NBA, NFL, they're all union jobs. When it comes to the athletic, that's why they call it the Players Union. In case you guys don't get it, the Olympic Union. You got to sign up for it. Just the reality of the choice. They're going into a business that's franchised based on a unionized structure of athletics. So if that's your goal, they got to struggle. They got to be cut. You got public schools now that don't cut kids. You got middle schools that don't cut kids. They can just sign up. It's like the YMCA on haywire, and it's unnecessary. But what does that got to do with helicopter parenting? A whole lot.